My family destroyed my daughter's wedding dress the night before her ceremony to teach her a lesson about being too good for us. That was just sibling rivalry, my brother chuckled. She needed to be brought down a peg, his wife added smugly. I didn't shout, I just started making calls. By morning, they were packing their bags while I was walking Emma down the aisle. When I arrived at the Grandview Manor that Friday night for the rehearsal dinner, everything looked perfect. The historic mansion was glowing with warm lights. White roses cascaded from every surface, and Emma, my daughter, was practically floating in her simple rehearsal dress. 26 years old, a pediatric surgeon, about to marry Jake Thompson, a software engineer whose family had old money but zero pretension. They were good people, the Thompsons, salt of the earth despite their wealth. I'd spent 18 months planning this wedding. Every detail, every vendor, every flower arrangement. $50,000 of my own money because I wanted Emma to have everything I never could. She deserved it. Honor roll student, full scholarship to medical school, residency at Children's Hospital. She'd worked for everything she had. But as I scanned the rehearsal dinner, I noticed the tension. My brother Michael sat with his arms crossed, barely touching a salmon. His wife Tracy kept making comments under her breath. Their son Cole, 22 and a college dropout, was on his phone the entire time, occasionally snorting at something. Madison, their 19-year-old daughter, kept taking photos but rolling her eyes dramatically in each one. My parents, Robert and Linda, sat between the two families like referees at a boxing match, clearly uncomfortable but saying nothing. After dinner, I walked Emma up to the bridal suite where her dress was hanging, a stunning ivory silk gown with delicate beadwork that had cost $3,000. She'd tried on dozens before finding this one. Tomorrow's going to be perfect, she said, touching the dress gently. It really is, I agreed. Get some rest. David and I will handle the final details. I kissed her goodnight and headed back to our hotel room with my husband David, Emma's stepfather since she was 8. He'd been more of a father to her than anyone. The call came at 6:47 a.m. Mom. Emma's voice was strangled, barely above a whisper. Mom, you need to come here. Now. I was out of bed before she finished the sentence. David grabbed the keys, and we raced to the venue. Emma was standing in the bridal suite doorway, still in her pajamas, her face pale as marble. I pushed past her and stopped dead. The dress was destroyed. Completely, deliberately destroyed. Red wine had been poured across the bodice and skirt, leaving dark crimson stains that would never come out. But that wasn't the worst part. Someone had taken scissors, small, precise cuts, and sliced through the seams at the shoulders, the waist, the hem. The beadwork was torn off in chunks. It looked like someone had taken their time, methodically destroying every beautiful detail. Oh my God, David breathed behind me. Emma was shaking. I came up here to get my phone charger, and I found it like this. Who would do this? Who would do this? I knelt down and picked up a piece of the torn silk. My hands weren't shaking yet, but they would be later. Right now, I was in problem-solving mode. Did you check with security? The cameras malfunctioned, Emma said. From about midnight to 2 a.m., there's no footage of this hallway. The venue manager said it's never happened before. David was already on his phone with the venue coordinator. I could hear fragments of the conversation. Backup dress, emergency contact, bridal shops. Mom, Emma whispered. The wedding's in 6 hours. What am I going to do? I stood up and looked at my daughter. Brilliant, kind, hardworking Emma, and something crystallized in my chest. Cold. Clear. Focused. You're going to have a beautiful wedding, I said. David, call every bridal shop within 100 miles. I don't care what it costs. For the next 4 hours, we turned the world upside down. David drove to 3 different cities. I made dozens of calls. Emma sat in the corner, alternating between tears and stunned silence. Meanwhile, My family started trickling in for the ceremony. Michael appeared first, dressed in his rental tux, looking around the chaos with what I can only describe as curiosity. "What's all the commotion?" he asked. "Someone destroyed Emma's dress," I said flatly. His eyebrows shot up. "No kidding? That's terrible. These things happen at big events, I guess." "These things happen." I stared at him. "These things don't just happen, Michael. Someone did this deliberately." Tracy appeared beside him, her face arranged in an expression of concern that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Oh no, what a nightmare. Good thing Emma's so practical, though. She'll figure something out." Practical. Like this was Emma's problem to solve. Cole and Madison showed up an hour later, Cole immediately gravitating toward the coffee station while Madison started taking selfies near the flower arrangements. "Heard about the dress," Cole said to no one in particular. "That sucks." Something about his tone, too casual, almost pleased, made my skin crawl. "Yeah," Madison chimed in. "But honestly, it was kind of over the top anyway. Like, who needs a $3,000 dress?" I turned to look at her. "Excuse me?" She shrugged. "I'm just saying, maybe it's a sign. Like, maybe Emma was getting a little too caught up in all the fancy stuff." David returned at 10:30 a.m. with a simple off-the-rack dress from a shop 2 hours away. It was beautiful in its own way, clean lines, classic cut, but it wasn't Emma's dream dress. It was a replacement and we all knew it. Emma took it without complaint, disappeared into the bathroom to change, and emerged looking stunning but different. Quieter. Like something had been taken from her that couldn't be replaced. The ceremony went forward. Emma walked down the aisle on David's arm, her chin held high, and married Jake in front of 150 guests. She was radiant because she was marrying the man she loved, but I could see the sadness underneath.
So could Jake.
So could his parents, who kept shooting concerned glances at our side of the family. During the reception, I gave my mother of the bride speech. I talked about Emma's strength, her resilience, her ability to handle unexpected challenges with grace. I said that some people spend their lives trying to tear down what others build, but that true character shows when you refuse to let them win. The room was quiet. Michael and Tracy exchanged looks. Cole was suddenly very interested in his phone. After the toasts, I was standing near the bar when Madison approached me, phone in hand. "Aunt Sarah, could you take a picture of me and Cole by the cake?" "Sure." I took her phone and aimed it at them. As I was lining up the shot, I noticed something. Madison's photo gallery was still open, and the thumbnail of the most recent video caught my eye. It was Cole and Madison in what looked like the bridal suite. Actually, I pretended to fidget with the camera settings while I tapped on the video. The footage was dark, but I could make out enough. Cole holding scissors. Madison pouring something from a bottle. Both of them laughing. My blood went cold. "Actually, never mind the photo," I said, handing the phone back. Madison looked confused, then panicked as she saw what was on her screen. "Oh, that's nothing, just us being silly earlier. When was this taken?" I asked quietly. She stammered. "I don't know, I take lots of videos, Madison." My voice was calm, but something in my tone made her step back. "When was this taken?" Cole appeared beside us. "What's going on?" I held out my hand. "Show me your phone."
"What?"
"No, that's... Show me your phone, or I'm calling the police right now to report vandalism." The color drained from his face. After a moment, he unlocked his phone and handed it over. His camera roll told the whole story. Photos of the dress before they destroyed it. Videos of them cutting the seams. Madison pouring wine while Cole narrated like it was a comedy sketch. "You should see her face when she finds this tomorrow," Cole's voice said from the speaker. "She's gonna lose it. Maybe she'll finally come back down to earth," Madison added, giggling. I closed the phone and looked at both of them. "Where are your parents?" I found Michael and Tracy at their table, picking at their wedding cake, and talking quietly to my parents.
We need to talk, I said.
All of us.
Now.
I led them to a private room off the main hall and closed the door. I know what you did, I said simply. Tracy's face immediately went defensive. What are you talking about? I placed Cole's phone on the table. Your children filmed themselves destroying Emma's dress. It's all here. The silence was deafening. Finally, Michael spoke. Look, if they did something stupid. Stupid? I stared at him. They deliberately destroyed Emma's wedding dress to humiliate her on her wedding day. That's not stupid. That's cruel. They're kids, Tracy said quickly. It was probably just a prank that went too far. Cole is 22. Madison is 19. They're not kids. My father cleared his throat. Sarah, maybe we should. Maybe we should what, Dad? Sweep this under the rug? Pretend it didn't happen? Like we always do when Michael's family acts out? Michael's face flushed. Acts out? What's that supposed to mean? It means you've spent 26 years resenting Emma for being successful. For going to college, for becoming a doctor, for marrying someone from a good family. And instead of being proud of her, you've made her feel guilty for achieving things. She thinks she's better than us, Tracy snapped. Always has. Walking around with her fancy degree, her rich boyfriend, her perfect life. She's better than you, I said quietly. She's kinder. She works harder. She doesn't destroy other people's happiness out of jealousy. My mother gasped. Sarah, that's your family you're talking to. I turned to her. Emma is my family. And they tried to ruin the most important day of her life because they couldn't stand seeing her happy. Michael stood up. This is ridiculous. So, what if they messed with the dress? She got another one. The wedding happened. No harm done. No harm done. I repeated the words slowly. You think there's no harm done? I pulled out my phone and started typing. What are you doing?
Tracy asked.
Canceling your hotel rooms. All of them. Checkout is in 20 minutes. You can't do that, Michael said. I can and I did. I paid for them. Just like I paid for your flights, your rental car, your rehearsal dinner meals. All of it. Tracy's mouth fell open. Sarah, you can't just. I can. And I am. I kept typing. I'm also canceling the family Christmas gathering at our house. The one I host every year and pay for every year. You can figure out your own holiday plans. Mom, my father said, this is getting out of hand. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, destroying someone's wedding dress and then laughing about it is what got out of hand. I'm just responding appropriately. I finished with my phone and looked up at all of them. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. Tonight. You're not going to contact Emma, you're not going to post about this on social media, and you're not going to play the victim to the rest of the family. And if we don't, Michael asked, then I'll post the videos of your children destroying the dress. I'll let everyone see exactly who you really are. The room was dead silent. This is insane, Tracy whispered. Over a dress. Not over a dress, I said. Over my daughter. Over 26 years of you making her feel like she had to apologize for being exceptional. Over raising your children to think it's funny to hurt people who have more than they do. I walked to the door and opened it. You have 20 minutes to get your things and leave. They filed out without another word. Cole and Madison looked like they'd seen a ghost. My parents tried to linger, but I shook my head. You too. You enabled this. You always have. An hour later, I watched from the window as their cars pulled away from the hotel. Emma and Jake were cutting their cake, surrounded by friends and the Thompson family, who had been nothing but gracious and supportive. David found me by the window. How do you feel? I thought about it. Free. The next morning, the family group chat exploded with messages. How could I do this to them? They were family. It was just a mistake. Emma would get over it. I left the group chat. Over the next few weeks, extended family members reached out. They'd heard different versions of the story and wanted to know what really happened. I told them the truth, simply and without emotion. Most went quiet after that. A few took sides. The ones who mattered stood by Emma. Emma and Jake went on their honeymoon to Greece, and when they came back, Emma pulled me aside. "Mom, I need to tell you something." I braced myself.
"Thank you," she said, "for protecting me, for choosing me."
I've spent my whole life trying to make them proud, trying to prove I deserve their love. But you showed me I don't have to earn what should be freely given. 6 months later, Emma graduated her residency. David and I were there, cheering in the front row. Michael's family wasn't. Emma didn't notice. She was too busy celebrating with the people who actually loved her. Madison got pregnant 8 months after the wedding and suddenly wanted family support. She reached out through my mother, asking if we could put the past behind us and be there for the baby. I sent back a simple message. "Congratulations on your pregnancy. You'll figure it out." Because here's the truth I learned that day. Some people will try to destroy your happiness because they can't stand that you have it. They'll call it a joke, a mistake, a moment of poor judgment. But when someone shows you who they are, when they film themselves destroying something precious to you and laugh about it, believe them. I don't miss the drama. I don't miss walking on eggshells, trying not to make them feel bad about Emma's success. I don't miss funding their lives while they resented mine. What I have now is peace. Emma is thriving in her career, happy in her marriage, and free from people who made her apologize for shining. David and I host intimate holiday gatherings with people who actually want to be there. We travel. We laugh. We sleep well at night. Some people say I overreacted. That family is family, and I should have forgiven them. But I think there's a difference between forgiveness and enabling. I can forgive them for being broken people. I don't have to fund their brokenness anymore. So tell me, was I wrong to cut them off completely? Should I have overlooked the destruction of my daughter's wedding dress? When family becomes your biggest enemy, what's the right response? Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear your perspective. And if you want more stories like this, go ahead and hit subscribe and tap the bell.